Hello everyone. I would like you to read chapters of the book that I posted in As You Learn in PDF version. And here I um, have two examples of the um, determination of cost data from your book, just for giving you some more clarification and helps and understanding the way that you need to determine two cost item operation of the equipment and ownership of the equipment. For as I went over the details in the previous lecture, the factors, the items that um, help you to determine the operation cost of an equipment includes fuel cost, lubrication, including oil change and filter, tire depreciation, tire repair and repairs. I would say the big chunk of this big portion of the operation cost is fuel cost, and that's of course may change from one location to another and may change from one equipment to another. So it depends on many things. So as you see in this formula, there are some factors that help you to determine the fuel cost. Number one is HP rating, means horsepower. Second one is power utilization. That means, for example, when you have your machine running, what percentage per hour the engine is working. So that's it's usually between 55 to 80%, but that's the meaning of power utilization. And use factor is the efficiency, like how much of in like per hour you have your machine in use. It's usually between 30 to 50 minutes. In your job site that you have the machine ready for to use. And consumption rate is I would say is more a generic item. You usually hear about it about your personal car and the things that you may own, not only for construction job but in your personal life. So that's same thing. Fuel cost, as I said, that's even you use gas or other type of fuels. It depends on the geographical area. So yeah, and the other thing, like the oil change depreciation, is also again depends on the manufacturer manual. So how often you need to do that, that also may change the cost. And again, for tires, the cost of the tire, of course, the better tire has longer life and less repair, but you have to pay more for the initial price. And of course, the same thing for the repairs. So at the end, just remember that anytime that these the costs of the price of each of these items given to you, you have to convert them to hourly rate. For example, if you're given annual cost of tire repair, then you have to find out the number of hours for that year that you can use the product, and then convert that annual cost to the cost per hour. All right, so what about the ownership cost, right? To determine the equipment ownership cost, of course, depreciation and interest is a big thing. Insurance, taxes, and storage. These three items, insurance, taxes, and storage, are usually something that will be given to you, and you just have to convert the value to, for example, per hour, and that's where you can use its same scale per hour to determine the whole equipment ownership cost. Depreciation and interest, again, as you will see in your book, and I put a screenshot of the book here, you need a formula, okay, to calculate that. And the values that you put in the formula will be usually given to you, and the resources to find out those values is something that you should know in industry. For example, if you look at this formula, P stands for the purchase price, F stands for salvage value, and then you have I, which is interest rate, and then you have N, useful life. Okay, so let's say, for example, you bought a loader, cost 40K, and then to determine the ownership cost, you imagine, okay, just think about it hypothetically, that when you know the number of years that you can use this product, this machine, let's say 10 years or 20 years, and then at the end of that time, you sell your machine with a price that's called salvage value. So you would have to deduct the salvage value from the purchase price, and that's where you can you use this formula for. But you have to also incorporate the interest rate in this formula to determine the cost of time value of the cost. Okay, before I go over an example of how to use this formula, here at the bottom of this picture you see a different way of defining this formula, and it's payment function, which is typical in Excel, the software, the way that you can use the software to determine that, to calculate this cost for you. So PMT is stand for payment, rate is the annual interest rate, in decimal format, NPER is the useful life in years, PV purchase price, and FV salvage value. Just for your information, if you see such a function in future, just to know that that's what you use to calculate the payment function for an operation, for an ownership cost of the equipment. Okay, so let me go to the next slide, and I'm gonna go over the same example that you have in your book, page A96, and right. Okay, so using the formula, we are going to calculate depreciation and interest cost per hour. So P value that you see here is 47,060,600. Okay. This is a typical thing, that the price value of a machine includes the tire, because when you bought it and you have the tire installed on it, right? You don't buy a machine without tire. Therefore, and the tire is an item that's you use in the operation cost, something separate from ownership cost. Then you have to deduct the tire cost from the purchase price, and then at the end, the result of that deduction will be the number that you use in this formula. So you can go ahead and review page 96 for your information to better know that, for example, in that example, the actual price is 52,100, and the number here is 47,600, which is the result of the deduction of tire cost from the actual cost. So that's it. This 0.08 is the interest rate. In the example is given to you that the total interest is 8% per year, and that's what you use as the value for I in all in the formula. And then the salvage value is also given to you. If you look into the page 96, salvage value is 1,563 multiplied by interest rate, and then at the end you will have 8,968 annual cost, or the cost of ownership per year. So if you remember, I mentioned that you use hour as a scale for the time value. So therefore you have to convert this number per year to the cost per hour. To do so, you need to know what's the total number of work hours in 1 year, which is also given to you. You have to just look into the given data on the list on page 96, and you will see it says useful life 7 years at 1,400 per year. So that's where you use that number. So you convert this number 8,968 divided by 1,400 hours. That would be that gives you 6.41 per hour. So that's the cost for depreciation and interest. Now you need to convert all the values given to you at the annual cost for taxes, insurance, and storage to hourly rates. And then at the end, the only thing you would do is just sum all these numbers and do the math, and you will have at the end the total ownership cost 8.91 per hour. Very simple. I would really want you to make sure that all of you understand the way that we do this math and why all these factors are important to determine the cost of an equipment ownership. It's all about this. I would post some of the questions at the end of each chapter for you as an assignment as you learn, and I would expect you to start working on that for this week, starting in the weekend. And I will go over I will give you the results and the answers in the following week. Shoot me an email if you have any questions, and best of luck. We'll see you next week. Thank you and have a good one.